Welcome to this short lecture on Kamala. So the term Kamala is synonymous with jaundice or icterus because the predominant manifestation is yellowish discoloration of the body parts. As we have learned during the Panduroga, Kamala can happen as a result of Panduroga or as a progression of Panduroga, or Kamala can happen independently as well. Basically, Kamala is classified into two: Koshta Shakhashrita and Shakhashrita Kamala. This classification we will see in detail, and also some acharyas have explained avastha bhedas of Kamala like Halimaga, Kumbha Kamala, Panagi, etc. So all these diseases are characterized by yellowish discoloration of the body parts. So the definition goes like Kamam Ladi Idi Kamala. So anything that takes off your desires, especially the desire for food, etc., is considered as Kamala. यः पाण्डुरोगी सेवेद पित्तलं तस्य कामला भवेत् पित्तोल्बणस्यासौ पाण्डुरोगात् हृदयेऽपि च. So Acharya says that whenever a Pandurogi goes on continuing with the Pittala Ahara Viharas, he can end up in Kamala. And in other patients who doesn't have Pandu but undergoes Pitta Olbana Nidanas, even without the Panduroga, the patient can end up in Kamala. So the first type is called as Paratantra Kamala, which happens as a result of Panduroga. And the second one is considered as the Swatantra Kamala or independent one. So that is regarding another two classifications. So the classification is Swatantra and Paratantra. Swatantra is Kamala manifested as de facto or de novo, and Paratantra is when Panduroga results in Kamala. Another classification is Koshta Shakhashraya, which is also called as Bahupitta Kamala, and the other one is Shakhashraya Kamala. And there are avastha bhedas of Kamala like Kumbha Kamala, Halimaga, Panagi, Lodhara, Alasa, etc. So these three terms are synonymous, used synonymously in Ashtagardaya. So this is the Nidana, Samprapti and Lakshanas of Kamala. Pandurogi tu atyartam pittalani nishevade tasya pittam asrag mamsam dagdva rogaya kalpade. So whenever a Pandurogi undergoes further Pittala Ahara Viharas, then the Pragupita Pitta causes paga of asrag mamsam, rectan mamsa, and ends up in Kamala. The features are Haridra Netraha. So Haridra is greenish yellow. Haridra Netra, Sabrisham, Haridra Tuk Nakha Anana. So Haridra Varnada of Netra Tuk Nakha Anana. Rekta Pida Shagran Mutro. So the stools and urine mixed with reddish yellowish color. Bhega Varno. Just like Bhega is Pravrshenya frogs. That means mainly the green variety of frogs. That is Bhega Varna. And Hadendriya. So there is a defect in the functioning of the Indriyas. Daha, Avipaga, Daurbalya, Sadhanaruji Karshida. Systemic features like Daha, Avipaga, Daurbalya, Deha Sadhana, Aruji. And Kamala, Bahupittesha, Koshta Shakhashrayamada. So this is the explanation of Koshta Shakhashrita Kamala, where Pitta is equally vitiated in the Koshta as well as Shakha. So here the predominant lakshanas are yellowish or greenish color of different body parts, then Rakta Peda Shagarmutro, then Bhega Varna, systemic features like Daha, Avipaga, Daurbalya, Sadhana, Aruji, and this is also called as Bahupitta Kamala. This reference is from Ashtahridaya. Koshta Shakhashrayam Pittam Dagdva Asrag Mamsamavahe Haridra Netra Mutratuk Naka Vaktra Shagruttaya Daha Avipaga Trishnavan Bhegabo Durbalendriya. So the reference is in the similar lines. Next is the Shakhashrita Kamala. This reference is from Charaka Chikilsa Pandaroga Adhikara, and this is a very important reference. So here what Acharya says is that whenever the pitta is taken into the shakhas and is obstructed by the Prakovita kapha, then there is increased pitta in the shakha, but there is reduction of pitta in the koshta. So this can be identified in the patient because of the color of the stools. The stools will be whitish in color instead of yellowish as in Koshta Shakashrita Kamala. So in Shakashrita Kamala, the main differentiating feature is the yellowish discoloration of the body parts will be there as in Koshta Shakashraya. But in Shakashraya, the stools will not be yellowish. Instead, it will be whitish in color. So that is why the sloka starts like Tilapishta Nibham Yastu Varchaha Srujati Kamali. Here Tilapishta Nibham is not the color but the consistency. So it is just like the paste of the tila. So usually what happens is whenever there is an obstructive pathology, the bile is not coming into the small intestine and it starts affecting the fat metabolism, the digestion of the fat. So the patient will develop steatorrhea leading to sticky stools. So that is why the consistency tilapishta nibham is told. Shleshmana ruddha margam tat pittam kabhaharir jayet. So he says that this happens due to the shleshma that is causing obstruction to the pitta, so that such pitta should be treated by Kafahara Chikitsa initially. Next he says about the Nidanas of Shakhashrita Kamala. Ruksha Shida Guru Swadu Vyayamer Vega Nigrahehi Kapha Sammurchido Vayu Sthanat Pittam Kshibed Bali. So Ruksha Shida Guru Swadu etc. Ahara Viharas causes equally Kapha as well as Vada Prabhava, and this Kapha Sammurchida Vada takes Pitta outside of the Koshta into the Shakhas. So the manifestation will be Haridra, Netra, Mutratvak, Shveda Varchas Tadanaraha. So Netra, Mutratvak, etc. will be Haridra, but the Varchas will be Shveda in color. And the other features like Adoba, Vishtamba, Hridaya Guruda, Daurbalya, Alpagni, then Parshvarti, especially the right flank pain, Hikka, Shwasa, Aruji Jwarehi, Aruji and Jwara, Kramena, Alpe, Anusajjeda, Pitte, Shakha Samasriti. So here the systemic features also will be there. One of the important differentiating feature is the Shveda Varcha or the Shveda color of the Varchas. And the predominant line of management will be Kafahara until the Pitta reaches the Koshta. Afterwards, we have to go for the Pittahara Chikitsa. Next is the Asadhya Lakshanas. Krishna Pida Shagrun Mutro, Brisham Shunascha Manavaha, Saraktakshi Mugachardi, Vin Mutro Yascha Tamedi, Daharuji Tridanaha, Tandra Moha Samanyuda, Nashtagni Satyaha, Kshipramhi, Kamalavan, Vibhadyade. So we know that jaundice happens due to a disorder in the liver or a disorder of hemolysis, or if there is any obstruction to the bile. So all these Asadhya Lakshanas will not be found in every patient. It depends upon the causative factor for the icterus. So Kamala is a very big spectrum where the predominant manifestation is icterus or jaundice, but there are so many modern pathologies that can lead to this manifestation, and all those diseases can be considered under the spectrum of Kamala. So a simple viral hepatitis, then hemolytic jaundice, biliary obstruction due to cholelithiasis, cirrhosis of the liver, non-alcoholic steatohepatosis, malignancies of the liver. Almost all these conditions can present with jaundice as a predominant manifestation. And there are other conditions like hereditary disorders and congenital disorders like Gilbert syndrome, Crigler-Najjar, so many other diseases that can present with jaundice as a predominant manifestation. So let us take the example of a patient who is alcoholic and his liver went into cirrhosis. So what happens next? So there will be esophageal varices leading to hematemesis. There can be hemorrhoids leading to bleeding through stools, and the patient can develop ascites, and the patient can develop hyperproteinemia owing to the liver dysfunction, so leading to edema. So all these features are told in this Asadhya Lakshanas. So this alcoholic cirrhosis is only an example. There are other conditions of the liver that can present with the portal hypertension and the subsequent hematemesis and bleeding through rectum. So Krishna Pida Shagran Mutro. So dark yellow or blackish Shagran Mutra Brisham Shunascha, edema of the body. Then Sa Rakta Akshi Mukha Chardi. So Rakta of Akshi, then Mukha, then Rakta Chardi, Wind Mutra. So there is blood in the urine or stools. Then systemic features like Daha, Aruji, Trishna, Anaha, Tandra. So whenever there is liver failure, there is lack of functioning of the liver leading to increased toxins in the blood, and these toxins may go through the blood-brain barrier into the brain, leading to a condition known as hepatic encephalopathy. So the patient can develop delirium, and later on the patient can go into coma as well. So that is a Tandra, Moha Samanvidaha, Nashta Agni Sapnyaha, Nashta Agni, Nashta Sapnyaha. The patient loses consciousness. Kshipramhi. So such a patient can die very fast. So this is a Asadi Lakshana of Kamala. Next is a condition known as Kumbha Kamala. So this is a chronic case. So where Ubayakshayacha Shofadya Sakrichana Kumbha Kamala. So when the Kamala is not treated properly, then this leads to Kumbha Kamala. So why the name Kumbha? Kumbha Koshtaha. Madhukosha says Kumbha Koshtaha Tadasriya Kamala Kumbha Kamala. Or Susruta says Bhedastu Tasya Kalu Kumbha Sahva Shodho Mahastatracha Parva Bhedaha. So the main feature is Shodha or edema. So whenever the patient comes with a jaundice and generalized edema along with ascites, we can consider it as the state of Kumbha Kamala. It's not an independent disease. It's a further complicated state of the Kamala. So again, Madhudana says Kalandara Khari Buddha Krichrasyat Kumbha Kamala. And the Kumbha Kamala has some Asadi Lakshanas as well, like Chardi, Arojaga, Hrilasa, Jora, Klama Nibidita, Nashyadi, Shwasakasartho, Vidbhedi, Kumbha Kamali. So these are the Asadi Lakshanas of Kumbha Kamala. Next is another variant, that is Halimaka. Yadatu Pandor Varna Hasyat, Haridaha, Shava Pidakaha. So the patient has Pandu Varna or Harida, Shava Pida Varna, Bala Utsaha Kshaya, Tandra, Mandagni, Mrudujvaraha, Strishu Aharsho. So there is disinclination towards sexual, or there is lack of sexual desire, sexual drive in the patient. Angamardascha, Daha Trishna Rujir Brahma. This lack of sexual desire can happen when there is liver failure leading to impaired metabolism of testosterone. Then next is Daha Trishna Aruji Brahmaha Halimagam Tadatasya Vidyat Anila Pittataha. So this Halimaga is basically a Vada Pittaja disease. Next is a Panagi. So this reference is there in Susruta as well as Ashtanga Hridaya. Sandhabo Bhinna Varchastum. So there is fever, there is diarrhea. Bahirandascha Pidada. There is yellowish discoloration. Panduda Netrayoresya. So there is Pandutva in the Netra. This is Panagi. So these are Avastha Vedas of Kamala. Vagbhata says about Panagi, Harida Shava Pidatvam, Pandu Roge Yada Bhavet. So he says this as a varied manifestation of Pandu. Harida Shava Pidatvam, Pandu Roge Yada Bhavet, Vada Pittat. So this is due to Vada Pitta. Brahma, Trishna, Strishu Aharsho, Mrudur Jwara. So there is Strishu Aharsha and Mrudur Jwara. Tandra, Bala, Anala Brahmsho. There is Bala Brahmsha, Anala Brahmsha. Lodharam, Tam Halima. So these are the synonyms. Lodhara, Halimaga, Alasa. So these are the synonyms of Halimaga. Next is the modern part, that is jaundice. So basically, the jaundice can be considered under three: pre-hepatic, hepatic, and post-hepatic, depending upon the cause. So we know that there is the formation of bilirubin. So it happens as a result of hemolysis. Then there is conjugation of the bilirubin. Then the bile is stored in the gallbladder, and it goes into the, it's excreted into the second part of the duodenum. So whenever there is any pathology, for example, in case of pre-hepatic, if there is excessive hemolysis, that can lead to increased unconjugated bilirubin, which the liver has to conjugate. So there is again hyperbilirubinemia. Suppose there is any disorder of the liver, then it leads to impaired absorption of the bilirubin, or impaired conjugation of the bilirubin, or impaired excretion of the bilirubin. So these are the hepatic causes. Next is the post-hepatic, where the pre-hepatic is normal, the hepatic is normal, but due to some obstruction in the hepatic duct, the patient can develop jaundice. So this includes gallstones, cholecystitis, malignancies of the pancreas which can obstruct the bile duct, or duodenal malignancies, which is very rare, but still these pathologies can lead to jaundice. So jaundice is a clinical marker of defect in metabolism or excretion of the bilirubin, and characterized by yellowish discoloration of the sclera, skin, mucous membranes due to deposition of the bile pigment. It can be clinically detected when the serum bilirubin is above 2 to 2.5 mcg per deciliter. So bilirubin is the breakdown product of hemoglobin. This we have already studied in physiology. So the breakdown product of hemoglobin, and it's bound to albumin in the plasma. The hepatocytes conjugate it and excrete through the bile channels into the small intestine. So what can cause increased bilirubin? Overproduction by excessive destruction of the RBC, failure of the hepatocyte uptake, failure to conjugate or excrete, or obstruction of the biliary tree. So again, depending upon the type of bilirubin that is in excess, it can be classified into unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia or conjugated hyperbilirubinemia. So in unconjugated, so there is increased production that exceeds the ability of the liver to conjugate. For example, hemolytic anemias, hemoglobinopathies, inborn errors of metabolism, or transfusion reaction. In case of conjugated hyperbilirubinemia, what happens is the conjugation happens, but there is defect in the excretion or there is obstruction. So metabolic defects, intra or extra hepatic obstruction can lead to conjugated hyperbilirubinemia. So the clinical features, history is very important, and physical examination is always mandatory. So you can ask the family history. For example, Gilbert's, Rotter, Crigler-Najjar, Tobin-Johnson's, these diseases run in families. So whenever you get a patient who is healthy and young with fever, malaise and jaundice, you suspect viral hepatitis, which is common. There are many viruses that can cause hepatitis, including hepatitis A, B, C, then D and E. So these viruses can cause hepatitis. So you have to always, whenever a patient comes with a fever and jaundice, hepatitis is one of the important differential diagnoses. And also if the patient has upper quadrant pain and vomiting, cholecystitis is another important differential diagnosis. So if the symptoms develop gradually, then you have to suspect bile duct obstruction or hepatic obstruction, as in cirrhosis. If there is acute abdominal pain, then you have to suspect cholangitis or cholecystitis. Painless jaundice in an elderly person, always look for malignancy. And if the patient complains about hepatomegaly with pedal edema, raised JVP and a gallop rhythm, you consider congestive heart failure, because congestion in the right side of the heart can cause congestion into the hepatic veins, and the patient can develop hepatic anomalies, especially hepatomegaly and jaundice. So a cardiac disorder also can cause jaundice. Next, let us look into laboratory tests that can be done in the patient with the jaundice. So the most important thing that we look into the patient is the bilirubin levels, then the liver aminotransferase levels, alkaline phosphatase, then a complete blood count, a prothrombin time, and other examinations or investigations pertinent to the history of the patient. For example, if the patient had a travel history and a fever, then we may go for a viral hepatitis panel. If the patient has a history suggestive of sickle cell disease, then we may go for hemoglobin electrophoresis. If the patient has histories pertaining to autoimmune hemolytic anemia, we may go for Coombs test. So accordingly, depending upon the clinical features and history in the patient, we may have to select the investigation. We can also go for an ultrasound, especially of the liver and gallbladder. So liver function tests can be classified into those tests that indicate hepatocyte injury and death, which includes AST or SGPT, ALT or SGOT, and alkaline phosphatase. There are others which measure the synthetic function of the liver. So these tests are prothrombin time and albumin. And there are indicators of hepatocyte catabolic activity, which includes direct and indirect bilirubin and ammonia. Then there are other markers like lactate dehydrogenase, which usually raises in case of cell damage and malignancies, and viral hepatitis serologies. So mainly LFTs can be classified into those which test the hepatocyte injury, those assess the synthetic function of the liver, those which assess the catabolic activity of the liver, and other tests like lactate dehydrogenase and viral hepatitis serology. So a basic liver panel includes bilirubin, AST, ALT, alkaline phosphatase, AG ratio or albumin globulin ratio, gamma glutamyl transferase, and prothrombin time. Prothrombin time is expressed in INR or International Normalized Ratio. So this is an algorithm for a workup with the patient with jaundice. So this chart is from Harrison's textbook of medicine. So look at the history, then the physical examination, then go for the lab test with bilirubin with the fractionation, ALT, AST, prothrombin time, albumin, and alkaline phosphatase. Based on this values, first look at whether the patient has isolated elevation of bilirubin or there is abnormality of other tests as well. So if there is only isolated elevation of bilirubin, then again you look at whether it is indirect or unconjugated hyperbilirubinemia or direct hyperbilirubinemia. If it is a direct hyperbilirubinemia, then you think about inherited disorders like Dobbin-Johnson's or Rotor syndrome, where the excretion of the bilirubin is affected. So that is why these disorders causes direct hyperbilirubinemia. Keep in mind, this patient has only elevation of bilirubin and no other abnormal markers, or no other markers are abnormal. If there is an isolated elevation of bilirubin, you see whether the direct or indirect is raised. If the direct is raised, then you suspect these disorders. If the indirect is raised, then think about drugs, rifampicin, or the other one, probenecid, or inherited disorders like Gilbert's, Crigler-Najjar's. Gilbert's is a very common disease. Usually it doesn't need any treatment. Usually we have seen that it can happen after an attack of viral hepatitis. So these patients usually presents with isolated indirect hyperbilirubinemia, and all the other tests will be negative or within normal range, and the patient will not have much systemic features. A 24-hour fasting hyperbilirubinemia typically indicates Gilbert syndrome. And also look for hemolytic disorders. If you suspect hemolytic disorders, then you have to investigate in that line, like Coombs test, autoimmune hemolytic anemias, or other hemoglobinopathies, etc. So that is when a patient has only isolated bilirubin, elevation of bilirubin. Suppose the patient has hyperbilirubinemia along with abnormal values of other tests, then you see whether it is a hepatocellular pattern or a cholestatic pattern. Hepatocellular pattern indicates there is hepatocellular damage, whereas cholestatic pattern indicates that there is obstruction to the bile. So these two are different pathologies. So hepatocellular pattern, ALT and AST will be elevated out of proportion of alkaline phosphatase. But in cholestatic pattern, alkaline phosphatase is elevated out of proportion to ALT and AST. So usually alkaline phosphatase is a typical marker of cholestasis or biliary obstruction. So whenever you suspect a obstructive jaundice, alkaline phosphatase is one of the important tests that you have to order. So if the patient has an hepatocellular pattern where AST and ALT is elevated out of proportion to alkaline phosphatase, then these are the other tests that you have to do. You can go for hepatitis A, hepatitis B, hepatitis C, then toxicology screenings, or ceruloplasmin. Ceruloplasmin is important in case of Wilson's disease, where there is defect in the copper metabolism. Especially if the patient is below 40 years of age, ceruloplasmin is one of the important tests that you have to order. Then also you can go for ANA, then SMA, SPP. All these indicates autoimmune diseases. Then you can also, if these are negative, then go for additional virological testing like cytomegalovirus, Epstein-Barr virus, hepatitis D, or hepatitis E. And if these results are negative, then you may have to go for a liver biopsy to diagnose the disease. Suppose there is a cholestatic pattern, then the alkaline phosphatase will be out of proportion to ALT and AST. Go for an ultrasound. If it indicates dilated ducts, then it's a extrahepatic cholestasis. So then you can go for CT or MRCP or ERCP, endoscopic retrograde cholangiopancreatography, or MRI guided cholangiopancreatography, or CT. This can identify the area of obstruction. If the ultrasound doesn't show you the dilated ducts, then it's an intrahepatic cholestasis, where there is cholestasis inside the liver. So you go for serological testings, hepatitis serologies, then go look for drugs, then go for liver biopsy or MRCP. So this is the approach to patient with jaundice. So this approach is very important whenever you order a liver function test. So if the abnormal liver test happens, how can we go forward? So if the liver tests are abnormal, if it is acute, then you look for whether it is a hepatitic pattern or a cholestatic pattern. This we have already discussed. Then all these tests should be done. In case of cholestatic pattern, these tests should be done. And whenever these are inconclusive, you can go for liver biopsy. If it's chronic, then again look for hepatitic or cholestatic pattern, and these are the tests that we usually do. And in case of cholestatic pattern, these are the tests. Again, the final one is the liver biopsy. So interpreting the LFT is an art actually. A mere abnormal value will not be much informative. Rather than you have to look at the whole picture, and you have to compare what is the ratio of each values to the others. Then only you can reach in a diagnosis. So in case of acute liver damage, the bilirubin will be normal or increased. AST and ALT will be highly increased, where ALT is more than AST. ALP or alkaline phosphatase is normal or moderately increased. Albumin will be normal, and prothrombin usually normal. In case of chronic liver disease, this bilirubin will be normal or increased. ALT and AST will be moderately increased. ALP is normal to slightly increased. These two are normal. In a similar way, you have to work up all these things. So this detail is available online. You can refer in detail regarding interpretation of liver function test. So this is another chart which indicates how to interpret the, for example, in cirrhosis, you can see that AST is more than ALT. The same is in case of primary malignancies of the liver, where AST is more than ALT. But if you see in acute liver damage, ALT is more than AST. So this comparison of values is very important in interpreting the LFT. This gamma glutamyl transferase is another important marker. Usually indicates alcoholic liver disease or congestive cardiac failure. So if at all a patient lies to you regarding his alcoholism and he has ended up in liver disease, you just go for GGT. If it is elevated, it's either due to alcoholism or a congestive cardiac failure. Hepatitis B screening is another important one we have to learn in detail, because there are several tests that indicates either the patient has recovered or the patient is infective. So this screening is very important. So one is the surface antigen, hepatitis B surface antigen, HBsAg. Next is anti-HBC and anti-HBs. These two are antibodies, and HBeAg. So usually HBsAg indicates that the person is infected. Anti-HBC is the core antibody. So antibody against the core antigen. So these two indicates that the patient is recovering or has recovered. HBeAg indicates that the virus is actively multiplying in the body. So these patients tend to be very highly infective. So this is hepatitis B screening. So again, this is available online. You can refer regarding how to interpret hepatitis B screening. Next is liver failure. So rapid deterioration of liver function resulting in coagulopathy or alteration in the mental status. So the classification is, if it is happens within 1 week, it is hyperacute. Within 8 to 28 days, it is acute. 4 to 12 weeks, it is subacute, and subfulminant if it is up to 26 weeks. Hyperacute is also known as fulminant hepatic failure. So these are the clinical phases of a liver failure. So there is a grading of liver failure. Again, this is available online. You can refer this to identify different stages of liver failure. So that is regarding diseases of the liver, Kamala, and jaundice.